Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next, we have public comment. John Peters.
Good evening, everyone. John Peters, 1301 Hampshire, Charleston, South Carolina, 20412. Just here to speaking on behalf of the potential development that's going in there between Bill Buffer and White House Plantation. I'm opposed to it. I feel that it will bring irreparable damage to the neighborhoods surrounding it and potentially irreparable harm to the residents in the area. I propose a green space. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's all we have. Next, we go to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Next, finance report.
This is going to be quicker than normal. Franchise fee is the main. The insurance is our SMRF, which is our property insurance. The legal professional fees is the lobbying fees this month or last month. The only other thing I need to add is at the very end, under the ARP, that number is going to change. I'm still accruing for last year, and that's the beginning figure. So that was literally at the time that this report went in.
Any questions for?
I do. Under Public Works Asset Management for, I guess it was in July, 25,039.
Right, it's a annual system.
Okay. For,
It's for GeoThink, it's the mapping system. that we do.
okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you so much. All right, next, kind of administrative report.
We've got a lot of projects kind of in the works, getting started, closing out. We have obviously our grant projects that are kind of underway. One just got started and one will start in the next couple of months. And Mark will give you some more information on that. And we also have a couple of new upcoming projects that I'll be bringing forward to you. Canterbury Tree Preservation Project. You're still waiting on that DOT approval, but the Natural Directions, who will be doing the work for us, is as eager to start before we get deep into storm season as possible. So as soon as we can get that approval, and that's just for the traffic control portion, he's ready to go.
Good.
And Pauline Agnew speed humps, we will be working on getting quotes for construction soon. We have one more correction to make on the plans, and they've been resubmitted back to DOT. So hopefully we'll get that going quickly. And also, I'm sure you all know, but our filing period for the upcoming election will open next Thursday at noon, and it will run through noon on Thursday, September 7th. And we've got some flyers out, and we'll continue to provide that information through our social media, just so everybody has the information out there. And Francis and I will be handling the submissions. James Island Arts and Cultural Center, they'll be starting their, more fall school year type programming. So we'll have some more new upcoming things happening there. And also today we ran an ad for the permitting and licensing manager. So that will be a part of pulling building services over to be internal. So that'll be kind of the first step. And then the first one would be instrumental in kind of setting up the program and working through what we need to do in the transition from A to B.
Any questions?
I do, about the code enforcement.
Yes,
So I just wanted to ask if any of these, the enforcements, because I added up the rank vegetation, inoperable vehicle, tree cases, nuisance properties. And they don't equal to
So-
947.
those are just the most common, so there would be other case types that would equal up to that total amount.
Okay, have there been any, are any of these, and is this 947 for this period or,
No, that's for
For the
all
year?
time.
okay. So are any of these due to like the ordinance that we passed regarding the change to short-term rental?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Great, thank you. Next, Public Works.
Good evening, everyone. This is the report for July. Staff reviewed the hurricane planning procedures with our new staff members. We attended a seminar at Charleston County on pavement rejuvenation, which is very interesting. Participated in a meeting of the Small Cities and Rural Communities National Committee for the American Public Works Association. And staff participated in kickoff meeting for the James Island Creek Basin Study. We participated in a pre-construction meeting with the contractor and engineer for the Green Hill Hunting Hill Drainage Project, which is now underway. Staff participated in a stakeholder meeting with residents in Laurel Park about drainage issues. And we continued monitoring the Ocean View Stone Coast Drainage Project. The utilities they've all been located there underneath the road. And into the ditch itself now, so they're finished except for paving over where they dug up, and that's going along nicely. Septic tank inspection, 2 new inspections, both of which passed, bringing our total to 78 inspected with 12 failed, and we have 136 more to go. Staff replaced 1 street sign and built 1 pothole in July.
Any questions?
I actually have one. So for the 12 septic tanks that failed, like what is their timeline for repairing that?
They actually should be finished with that.
Okay.
So usually when somebody finds out about it, they schedule the repair right then.
Great.
Nice, it's good about letting us know that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right, next, Island Sheriff's Patrol report. Lieutenant James.
Good evening. So obviously National Night Out went really well. So I think we had a really good turnout. It was like 117 degrees, but I tell you, it's still had a good time. So everything went really well. Everything was perfect by the standard of what we had out there. And I'm gonna tell you, the food was great. We had food, of course, we had cone ice and everything. So it was a really good event. Although not in the town, these outdoor power equipment was burglarized on July 31st by 3 subjects in a U-Haul. Well, that night, the James Island units that were for patrol were tied up on something. We had a town James Island deputy was working. He intercepted the U-Haul, got in about a 45-minute pursuit through all the way into North Charleston, all the way around. And 2 out of 3 subjects were located and charged with numerous crimes, including burglary. So we recovered everything. So that was a win for us. Between August 3rd and August 8th, the gun was stolen from an unlocked car on Clearview Drive. On August 10th, Deputy King stopped the car occupied by a 16-year-old juvenile, and he was arrested for several drug violations, to include illegal mushrooms, and he also possessed a firearm and alcohol. He was 16 years old. And of course, we've been hitting Pauline and Julian Clark. Obviously, Pauline changed the speed limit to 25. We haven't been writing any tickets right now, trying to advise people that the speed limit has changed, even though the signs are there. But we've actually been out there showing our presence. And of course, Julian Clark, we've been out there and hit that and realized that the complaint was pretty much unfounded. We haven't gotten anybody that was really speeding, and we probably sent it to Mark. I mean, hundreds of cars that we've gotten on radar. Other than that, it's quiet. Kids are going back to school, so that's a good thing. It kind of tapers things off a little bit.
Any questions for Lieutenant James?
Thanks.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I wanted to say that my kids and I came to the National Night Out and they had a really good time.
Yes, sir.
They enjoyed it. So
Yeah,
appreciate that.
It was fun. Actually was good times.
Thanks. Um. Next, a request for approval by staff. First is request to purchase the display case for James Island Arts and Cultural Center.
Yes, so there's a photo in your packet, so these would be clear glass display cases to have different exhibits with artifacts. Caroline was thinking about doing a call for artifacts to kind of see what local folks have that they'd like to provide for display for a certain amount of time. So these would go most likely back in the area near where the history panels are located. In that general area. And for 4 of them, they were on sale a little bit, it would be a total of $2,885.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Next, request to approve agreement with JIPSD allotting state appropriated funds to James Island Creek Sewer Project.
So at the last meeting, I reported that we've had obtained an earmark from the state budget for $1 million to go towards the restoration project with the sewer. And so in order to implement that funding, we would have an agreement with the PSD, basically setting up the way that we would go about getting this money to them. So these funds would be directly taking the burden off of the residents for paying the tap and impact fees. And then also the cost that it would typically be taken on by the property owner to run the line from the new sewer line to their house. It's probably roughly about $6,000. And so the town would pay that portion out of this $1 million allocation on behalf of the residents. And so in order to do so, we had to set up a mechanism to do that. So in working with the PSD, they would take in applications from each resident, verify that they're in the town or where, you know, there's a lot of different people involved in this project, or specifically for our purposes. They would keep record of each person and then bill the town monthly for those residents that had made their applications. If there's any funds left over, which I don't know if there will be or not, then we would have to meet back at the table with the PSD to figure out how to work with those funds for the rest of the project. And so this would be an agreement between the town and the PSD, and then I believe they would have to pass a resolution accepting this agreement.
So there's a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Just second.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
So are we keeping the $1 million within the town and then they would invoice us on a
Yes,
monthly basis? I think is what you said.
yeah,
So in theory, if no one did it, you know, if the money wasn't spent, we'd have $1 million at the end of this is a term of a year.
we haven't gotten the specifics from, I believe it will be through the Rural Infrastructure Authority that will be managing the grant fund, so we would have to report to them. It's my understanding that if we don't spend it on this particular project, then it would just go back.
Give it back to them,
Yeah.
most likely.
Mhm.
This is different from our cost sharing agreement where we give them $1 million.
Correct. It's totally separate.
But I mean, also they're not gonna receive the $1 million and then spend it. They're gonna have to do it like per job or per
Yes.
period or whatever.
Yeah, and that was something that that we as, you know, town staff having to manage the grant funds and report ourselves, that we felt more comfortable doing it that way, where, you know, it was on a month by month basis.
There is section 3 of the agreement provides that we can sue each other.
Yes.
How strongly do we feel that we need to be able to sue each other to enforce this agreement?
I mean, having the funding coming from the state, I don't see that that would be necessary, because if it's not spent in the way that it was appropriated, then we would just be giving it back. So, it's not like it's some other funding source that was going to be held accountable.
So if the PSD were to have work done,
And we
and
did
then we
not,
don't pay,
right,
then they would have the right to sue us. What this says.
mhm,
And I think that's the relevant issue. I don't know that the town, well. If we paid them and they didn't do the work, I guess we would have the right to sue them too.
It sounds like the way this is set up is it's retroactive payment, right? The work is done first and then they submit a bill for what they've done.
right.
I mean, I'd like to move that we just take the remedies part out of the agreement.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion of the remove the remedies?
I think there's enforcement mechanisms out there already. And I know they're all nice folks over there at the PSD and we're all nice folks over here at the town. The lawyer in me just, sees something like this and just I worry that, it's not in our control, for example, if they feel like we didn't live up to our end of the bargain and then they wanted to take us to court over us agreeing to give them money for stuff, you know what I mean? Plus, there's already remedies at law anyway, without
Right,
creating
all
more,
suing us anyway.
without creating, to me, if this is kind of like a gift or like a nice goodwill cooperation between each other, we don't have to.
But it's
Talk about
not a
suing each
gift.
other.
We're paying for our citizens for services that the PSD will directly be paying for, and we will be compensating the PSD this cost that benefits our residents. It is a gift by the town for our residents,
Correct.
but PSD is gonna be on the hook for the money they've already spent. Now, I'm not sure why the PSD thinks that they need to say in this agreement that they can sue us. I would think they can sue us anyway, but we fail to keep to the agreement. So I don't see any reason to remove it.
Are-
I don't know how we would be suing them, but
Well, for instance, are they doing the work? Is the actual PSD employees doing the work or are they contracting it out to third parties,
It
right?
would be contracted out, yes.
So then who sets the price? The third parties kind of do. And I would be concerned that they might see this big pot of money out there and say, hey, maybe the cost of doing this work is more than it used to be. And then we say, no, we're not going to pay you $8,000 for what used to be a $5,000 job. And then a disagreement happens. They're going to point to this, say, this says you have to pay us or we can sue you.
well, I would think that the rest of the agreement would allow them to sue us anyway if the cost had already been incurred.
So in other words, we don't really need to have section 3 remedies in there if they can sue us anyway.
I think it's redundant, I'm not sure. Perhaps our town attorney could give us an advice on that. What is the point of this?
I'm glad you asked me to speak now.
Yes, but you can.
I have not mastered the agreement, so I'm afraid.
So any further discussion for the?
Do we need to make a motion to go into executive session to have the attorney time to read the agreement?
There's no attorney's fees in here, right? I mean, it doesn't have the teeth that'll, or like forum selection or anything like that. But if they're involving third parties who are gonna do the work, and then they're gonna invoice the PSD, and then the PSD is gonna put an administration fee on that, and then invoice us for what the third party did, plus the PSD's oversight fee. Like they used to do in the cost sharing agreement. We were paying them like a gratuity to administer it. And then later, if we get these invoices and one of us says, I think we're being overbilled. Stop paying until we can sort it out. I don't want them to look at the contract and say, we can go ahead and, declare y'all in default and we're gonna do all this. Number one. Number two is Councilman Milliken pointed out, as the mayor's pointed out, it's redundant. But in my experience, when you put something like that in an agreement, it's something for people to look at, to think about. And so if it already exists at law and it's redundant, we don't need it. But it sounds like what you're saying is that the PSD drafted this agreement. So they put in there that they might need to sue us at some point. So why would they put that in there?
Because I think their concern would be that they, in good faith, incur these costs, and then members of town council just refuse to pay, saying that it's a gift or something.
But if we agree to everything else, then town council's not reviewing every payment, right? The agreement's already there,
No,
so.
it would be the town council, you know. Anyway, I think.
I mean, it sounds like what they're gonna do is just take the bill that they get from the contractor and hand it to us, plus whatever administration fee they wanna put on it.
No, I don't think that's correct.
Why don't, I mean, can you provide some? What is it you
Well,
know
I
that makes that
anticipate
incorrect?
That they will be. What, you know, that they'll get to choose the administrative fee on a case by case basis, and I don't think that there's any agreement that they get to add an administrative fee as they see fit.
It doesn't say they can't. It just says they're gonna administer it. And it doesn't, I mean, we have nothing in this agreement that tells us how
There's
they're,
no administrative. fee.
how are they going to choose the contractors? What if the contractor does a bad job and they have to go back and do it again? These are all and so they're gonna just be sending us bills and we're just gonna pay it.
So the bills would come, if you look at the new account credit program, kind of layout of how it all work out on the second page where it discusses the town grant fund. That is a little bit more specific about what exactly would be paid and billed to the town. So they would be receiving a request for new service from each individual property. And then the customer will provide a fee credit application to the PSD, so that would cover the impact of the tap fees. And so then they go through a process of verifying that the application is a town property. And then that would be where those fees would be,
Yeah, the administration costs.
right, so it would be the JFDSD application fee would be what we would be getting a bill for each month.
Have we looked at what it would take for people just to apply to us? And we pay the residents directly.
I guess. The issue there would be not having the guarantee that they would use that funding to then turn around and pay it back to the PSD for the connection.
Well, they have to hire a contractor to come do the tap, right? Run the tap line and do all that.
The intention is to hire a contractor to do all of it.
So why would we just let homeowners pick a contractor? Do it, actually, do it all, and then they give us their paid invoice and say, here's what I had to pay to tap into the sewer line. May I please have reimbursement under that program?
It is likely that it'll be much cheaper to have someone do all of it. To have a firm have a guarantee that you're going to go out in this neighborhood and do 100 of them or 50 of them and do all of them rather than on a case by case basis.
That sounds nice. It just sounds like there's a lot of gray area and speculation in how it's going to go out. And for $1 million,
And,
I would think
you
we
know,
could seal it up a little
it
bit.
comes out to about $6,000 per on average. So, for 200 houses.
And is that comparable, $6,000 per home? Is that comparable to other tie-ins that happen in the low country? And if it is, then we have sort of a standard here that we're trying to meet. Are they gonna bid this out?
Yes.
And so there will be a process then by which there would be oversight in the cost for the tie-in, and everything else, right?
Yes.
I would like to just step in here. I think, to your point, why wouldn't they just have the homeowner do it and then the homeowner submit the bill? I think James Island PSD has expressed multiple times that they want everybody on sewer and not septic. So perhaps, I'm not on PSD, but perhaps they're doing it this way so that they can have more participation. The homeowner doesn't have to pay out themselves and they get reimbursed. That makes sense?
Sure.
That's just my thought.
Any further discussion? This is where we are now is a motion to amend the agreement to remove the
Section 3 reviews.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay, so now we're back to the main motion as amended. If that motion passed. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
So that happens. All right, so next we will go to request to approve purchase and welcome sign of Ellis Creek.
Okay, so this has been quite the progress that I have enjoyed. And I put together a couple of slides. So you have a little packet there, and those are just the mock-ups. So I'm sure, as you all know, we have Mark, would you know anything about that? We have our brand new structure going up right behind our existing welcome to town of James Island sign near the Ellis Creek Bridge. So Carolina One, our existing sign is on their property and would be where they are looking to locate their new Carolina One sign. So we need to move this and, you know, kind of give them the opportunity to have a new sign, and then also her those requests to get a flag display. This seemed like a good opportunity to kind of do one project together with the flag display and with the new sign, and also not having any utility conflicts, which I think are an issue if we were to put flags at the corner of Kingdom Poly, which was the original request. So these are just some mock-ups that we've been working on with a sign company. We would this would be a similar material as the town hall sign out here in front of the building. So the lettering would be that same kind of brushed nickel, I guess, look. And then we would have a few options of the seal or the logo. And then another option that was provided, if you all were not interested in pursuing the flags, that they could do the seals of all of the armed forces at the bottom of the side. So that's this one on the lower section. And then as my art project for today, I put some images of the flagpole display sort of alongside where it would be located. So this flagpole type is, I guess, oftentimes seen in more of a nautical theme, but it's a single pole. You can have the American flag at the top and then the South Carolina flag below it. And then however your arms are coordinated, whether they're just side to side, or I think you can do 4 quadrants. You could put the different flags of the armed forces on those different side arms. So this is just a closer up view of some of the options. And then some other visual representations of the flag pole. We are still working with getting some pricing for the flag pole portion. But just kind of wanted to get that in front of y'all because we'll need to be taking down our welcome to James Island sign in the near future. And just kind of looking for some direction moving forward.
Well, is there a motion regarding this?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
So which would you prefer? I would think that that would be what the motion would be.
I think that the flag, I think this nautical design. Originally I had envisioned, as you all recall, multiple flagpoles. And then Nikki brought this to my attention. And then when she sent me the picture, I thought it looked really nice. I liked it a lot. It kind of fits in with, you're on your way to the beach, you've got the mark on the side. It really, the nautical appearance really looks good. So I think that really, those are the space constraints and all, I think that really works.
So then there's two different options with the flag. One is the seal that's here at Town Hall behind them.
The
Great.
colorful.
And then the other one is the colored one that we have at our parks. And, so you see that,
Are you still making your motion?
yeah, we're trying to get it,
All right.
which.
The color sign looks good.
Well, if that's your, if you make that your motion, I appreciate that. And then,
Oh,
Councilwoman Mignano, are you okay with that? Is that-
I'm perfectly fine with that. I will retain my.
Discuss.
So if we get the flagpole, it would go like behind the sign, basically.
So I think it would actually go next to it, so it would be
Okay.
to the right of it, and then where you see like our current sign, it. The new sign would complement the Carolina One sign, so that will be kind of right behind it, and then the flagpole would go over to the right.
I think this first panel's, really attractive with, like Troy said, the colored seal and then the two-way pole versus the four-way. I think, the two-way at a, if you're looking perpendicular to it, basically as you drive up to it, you have all the flags coming down. It look really nice. And you
It'll
can
be-
see everything better, like with the four-way things, some of them will be coming right at you and you wouldn't be able to
Right,
necessarily see them all.
yeah, it would be, situated, so cars that are driving towards, Pollock Beach, I guess. It would be nicely kind of oriented, so we to see this nice display.
Is that Carolina sign gonna remain there?
No, that's just their temporary like construction. sign.
Okay,
Okay, well,
It's
it's sign
huge.
over.
right.
So we're gonna coordinate with Carolina One to make sure that we don't put the
Yes.
flagpole in first and then they put their sign in front of the
Yes.
flagpole, correct?
Yes,
Okay, good.
and of course, there'll be a light box in there too, right?
yes,
So we're going with the traditional town of James Island sign like we have now with the multicolors. That's the motion. I like that because it's consistent. And it's nice to have something that's a consistent brand with our parks and everything else. So I like that. I agree with the flagpole idea too on the 2 rather than the 4.
And it really matches the nautical community, coastal community.
Mhm.
Right, if there's no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So that passes. So now we have requests for purchase of new flagpole.
so I do not have. I was really moving and pushing for a cost for that, but it's a pretty complicated system that we would be working with, so I don't have the total cost at this time. But I can bring forward that cost estimate for the flagpole and then some options for the signage, typically at the next meeting.
So we're gonna withdraw that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, next, committee reports, land use committee, Councilman Mignano.
Planning Commission met regarding the planned urban development at Dill's Bluff, and they tabled the motion, so there is no decision as of yet. And that's all of my report. Thank you.
Okay, environmental beautification committee, Councilman Miller.
Yes, James Island Pride met this evening, and will host and adopt a highway litter pickup on September 9th. Our roads are looking pretty bad, a lot of litter along the roadways, and it's probably time that we got out and picked it up. So we're gonna do that September 9th from 9 to 11. Pizza will follow, so it's a good way to get out there and get with it and clean up our island. What we do is we meet here at Town Hall out on the porch, we give you an orange vest, gloves and pickers and garbage bags, and we just go out to some assigned roadways and pick up the litter. For 2 hours, you get pizza, so it's a pretty good deal. Helping Hands will meet at Pinckney Park at 9 a.m. this Saturday. Helping Hands is an organization of volunteers led by Stan Kozakowski that helps residents who do not have the ability to care for their yards, care for their yards. So we'll be meeting at Pinckney Park at 9 a.m. this Saturday to take care of some yards. Right now, Stan has 7 clients. So that's a lot of mowing and raking to do on Saturday morning, to the point where he's kind of doing a rotation now. If you have any organizations or any other individuals who need service hours, this is a good way to get involved with that. For more information, you can contact Robin Sanders at Town Hall at 843-795-4141. And she'll give you information about how to get in touch with Stan. That's it.
Right. No report from Children's Committee. Public Safety Committee.
If I have a nomination for neighborhood council, Deborah Womack, is expressed an interest in being a neighborhood council representative for Stone Post. So I'd like to put her name in nomination. I've known her for quite a while, and she'll do a great job.
Second.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, it passes.
Okay, and then just that we have a neighborhood council meeting on September the 28th. And that's all I have to say.
Y'all did a great job with the National Night Out.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, History Committee,
And they will begin meeting again on September 12th.
Rethink Folly Road,
That will be next Wednesday. It'll be a virtual meeting at 3:30.
Drainage Committee,
We just had our last meeting and we really covered a lot of ground. I was very productive. And went into details with Kurt and Mark and around the entire meeting, did a great job. Probably kind of giving us updates on all the drainage projects throughout the area. So anyway, any specifics directed to him.
all right. Business Development Committee,
No report.
Tree Advisory Committee,
The Tree Advisory Council did not meet.
Jamestown Intergovernmental.
I think the next quarterly meeting will be September.
Any new business? Executive session. Right. Announcements, Councilman Bowles.
School's back. Well wishes to all the parents out there. Got kids going back to school. Thank you.
Just thank you to everyone for all that you do, and citizens, we definitely want to hear from you and we appreciate all your voices and we hear them. Have a great rest of your week.
September 9th, litter pickup, meet out on the porch here at Town Hall. We'll pick up some trash. We'll feed you some pizza.
That's the thing, staff, everything that they do, especially, Nick and I were real close on the flag thing, he was very good at that. We pay it step by step. And then Mark too, he and I worked on a couple of things too, that I really appreciated, his work with. Especially the constituent case, he's very good on, so I appreciate his work, so that's all I have to say.
Well, I would like to remind all the citizens that elections are coming up, that we will have in November, and that we have filing on starting next Thursday, and then 2 weeks, there'll be a 2-week period, is that right? And I'm not running for re-election. And I think that I've served the town since 2010, and it's time for new leadership. So thank you. The meeting is hereby adjourned.
Well,
We can have a roll back.